What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's your boy Noname back at it again with another New York Giants video, another subscriber selected video. And yeah, I know you guys have already noticed if you look at my community notes, look at whatever I post in there. If you watch my past 2 videos in one night, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, shameless plug. Go follow me there. In fact, you know what? Before I even get into anything else, take a moment, go follow me on Twitter and Instagram, at least Twitter, bro. I be putting out some gems, and I'ma just let a couple examples pop up on the screen right now. Y'all need to go follow your boy. And with that out the way, yeah, this is coming in a bit late, but as I said in one of my community posts, been just really busy. I think I've kept it up for about 2 months now. I think maybe a month to 2 straight months of doing these subscriber selected vids. This one's coming out a bit late, just being a bit busy, going through switching internet service providers and just regular real life stuff. So, whenever this one gets out, it gets out. And then as a preface to this video, the one that won the poll is Giants rookies that need to have a breakout or good season. I can't remember the exact poll, but that's the one that won the last subscriber selected poll with 32%. Thank you to all of y'all that voted. So that's what we're going to talk about. I will say that since that poll was put up, my mind on how rookie seasons are going to go has been changed a little bit. Nevertheless, obviously, I'm still doing it because of what you guys want. But I will say, I think rookies are going to have a very hard time in the NFL this season because they only have like a month to prepare for the season. And in fact, maybe that's even more of a reason that these guys on the list need to have a great season for the Giants, because everybody is lacking that preparation time, and we'll see how it affects them. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So first up that I got on this list is actually not necessarily one player. I kind of have a group on here. The wide receivers from the undrafted free agent signings that the Giants made after the draft. Now, the reason I don't have one particular player is because out of the wide receivers we signed, the 3 main guys in Derek Dillon, Austin Mack, and Binjimen Victor, not counting Caden Smith because he's currently being worked out as a tight end, and it seems as though he will be used at the tight end position for the Giants if he makes the team and whatnot. If that's the position he's going to be in. But these 3 guys, they all have the same chance, the same equal opportunity to make the team and make an impact as their peer does, man. So I can't really put one specific one. For me personally, I would say let's go with my boy Binjimen Victor. He's the one that I've been following since before the draft, actually, because I wanted the Giants to draft him in the 6th round. In one of my mock drafts, I had that happening. I was very happy that after a draft where we didn't take any wide receivers, and I was kind of a little disappointed that we somehow managed to scoop up Binjimen Victor out of Ohio State, the Ohio State product, for him to be one of the undrafted rookies that the Giants signed. Now, before I do get into him, though, why is it that I say the undrafted rookie wide receivers or one of these guys need to have some type of a impact year on the Giants? I won't call it a breakout year because it's not like these guys are already in the NFL and they need to have a breakout. Let's just say they need to have a really good rookie season. Why? Well, at least on the offensive side of the ball, most of the things are in place. I do have one other offensive player on here. I'm sure you guys can guess who. But with the offensive side of the football, most of the stuff is already in place for Giants. What we really need right now, besides offensive line help, even though I'm pretty sure they got it down pat for this season, is somebody to play across from Darius Slayton in that second outside wide receiver role. Somebody reliable, somebody that can be there as a target that you can count on to either get downfield or get open somehow and that could hold on to the ball. What we need on the offensive side of the football with the wide receiver position is, to be honest with you, a Golden Tate, but that could play outside receiver. Golden Tate has had times in his career where he can produce on the outside, but he is very much a slot receiver, man. I mean, right now, I think the setup the Giants should roll into the season with is Golden Tate at the slot and put Sterling Shepard outside. I think Shepard plays better on the outside than Tate does, but Tate should not be playing on the outside at this point in his career. He can't do it as effective as we would like him to do it in a Jason Garrett-styled offense. With that being said, Sterling Shepard at the same time is also very much a slot wide receiver. He can play the outside, but he is not an outside receiver, if that makes any sense to you guys. Hopefully one of these undrafted rookies, and that's the reason we signed a good amount of offensive playmakers with the undrafted signings. The draft this year was kind of ruled mostly by drafting linemen and defensive players, and the undrafted free agent rookie signings was kind of led with signing playmakers. So we need one of these guys, whether it's Dylan, whether it's Mac, or whether it's Victor, to come on and make an impact. And all three of them have their own strengths too. With Derek Dillon is the speed. He's a speed receiver. Austin Mack, he's that route running receiver. In fact, Austin Mack, if I'm being honest with you guys, is probably the most polished receiver out of these guys. But his challenge to get on the team would be the fact that he's basically like a mini Sterling Shepard and mini Golden Tate, where he's going to produce in the slot. I'm not so sure about him working on the outside, but he's going to be a great route running receiver for the slot. And then Binjimen Victor is that guy with size that can manage to get open on the outside. It's not like he has blazing speed like a Derek Dillon or anything, but Ben Victor has that size that we've been looking for in an outside receiver for a while now. He does have to add on a bit weight to him, which is one of my criticisms of Ben Victor. Of course, I do have criticism. He went undrafted for a reason, even though it surprised me. He needs to put on weight. At his height, I think he's around 6'4", 6'5". He's listed at the time of the recording. There's several sites that have him listed at 190 pounds, several sites that have him listed at 200 pounds. Either way, I would like for him to put on about 10 to 20 pounds more so that he fills out his frame, both because of injury concerns and both because at that size, I want you to be able to use your physical prowess. And he wasn't somebody that was used too much at Ohio State. Now, of course, it is the Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, these guys always produce good wide receivers, and at least at the college level, they always have a great wide receiving core. So it's not a surprise that he kind of fell back into the fold his years there at Ohio State. He played in 47 games, total 83 receptions for 1,340 yards and 18 touchdowns over his career at Ohio State. His last season in 2019, he played all 14 games and finished with a career high total of 35 catches, 573 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Once again, he got kind of lost in the fold, and I believe that with a bit more playing time, he might have shown. We'll see what happens there with Ben Victor. All right, next up is the Giants' second-round pick, safety out of Alabama, Xavier McKinney. And if there was a list, or if this was a list saying players I am most excited to see on the field and see how to perform on the field, Xavier McKinney will be at the top. He would frankly be at the top because this guy is really what the Giants needed on defense. And you know how you know it's what the Giants needed on defense? Because it's what we saw that we needed on defense. And we needed a type of playmaker like this on the defensive side of the football, and that's kind of why, as Giants fans, a lot of us were in love with Isaiah Simmons come draft time. A lot of us wanted somebody that could kind of play all over the field, that could add some spice to the defense, that could open up the defensive playbook, confuse opposing offenses, get them to think, and get the defense to perform outside the box and get things done. That's what Xavier McKinney brings to the table, and it's also, of course, why he's on this list of players that need to have a good or breakout season for the Giants. Before I get into how he's kind of that unique toolbox, that unique weapon on the defensive side of the ball, let's just talk about Xavier McKinney on how he's a good safety. This guy was the best safety coming out of this class. And no, I don't want to hear any arguments against that, because that is the consensus that was happening going up until the draft. Up until the draft came, then we really started hearing more rumblings about possibly Grant Delpit being better. That guy Winfield, I forgot what school he's out of, but Winfield Jr. being better. And I will say this, Winfield Jr. is probably the best cover safety in the class, but Xavier McKinney is the best overall safety in the draft class, and that is what he was. That's why he was a steal for the Giants to get him at 36 overall. He should have gone in the first round. And that's why just coming into the NFL, him and Jabril Peppers, who's only 24 years old, by the way. I feel like we kind of forget sometimes that Jabril Peppers is still a young dude, and McKinney being 20, these two guys at the safety position for the Giants are going to form possibly the most dynamic safety duo in the NFL, and that's why I'm going to be very excited to see how he does on the field, how he translates from a college football level where he was one of the best players in the nation to the NFL level. And I want to say that on the topic of him being, a good cover athlete and not so much a great coverage safety, the thing is that he's good. Once again, he's not great, but you don't need him to be great. You need him to be good. I think he's good enough to survive in this defense. And once again, with that dynamic duo, it could even become a dynamic triplet depending on how Patrick Graham uses McKinney, Julian Love, and Jabril Peppers together. I feel like that's going to be the way to go. Jabril Peppers being that box safety that really gets down there, that strong safety, that enforcer, akin to a Landon Collins of 2016. Xavier McKinney being the versatile guy. How versatile, you ask? Well, despite him playing towards the back of the defense, he had more career sacks than interceptions. He had 6 sacks in his career, 5 interceptions, knocked down 20 passes and forced 5 fumbles, had 176 tackles, 108 of them being solo at Alabama, including 13 for loss. The guy is literally all over the field. He played 200 snaps in the slot, over the top and down at the line of scrimmage. That's how much of a Swiss Army knife he is. So that's the role he might be playing with the Giants. Then Julian Love being that true cover safety. I think that's the way to go. Either way, Xavier McKinney is going to add a lot of spice to this defense. Is going to add a little bit of that playmaking ability that we've been missing for, honestly, God knows how long. Probably since 2015, 2016, the last year JPP was fully healthy, when we had a true playmaker on defense that can get something going at any time, any snap of the day. I mean, this is a guy that when coming out as a draft prospect, on almost every single profile that there was of him online, there was like no red flags listed. And for the weaknesses, I'll tell you right now, it was way shorter than his strengths. And you don't even have to listen to me right now. Listen to the strengths I'm about to list off, talking about his good vision, his eye discipline, how instinctive he is, the fact that his man coverage ability on tight ends and slot receivers, tight ends specifically, which as a safety is what you're going to be doing most of the time if you're put in that man coverage situation, is really good. It was one of the best for any safeties in college football, and it was one of his best strengths at Alabama. Talking about the fact that he's a good tackler, and when we drafted him, man, I was so happy that we drafted a good tackler, and good tacklers overall on the defensive side of the ball since 2017. The amount of times I was screaming at my TV because the Giants could not tackle is too much to count. And I can honestly go on and on about McKinney, but then, it's going to start to sound like I'm doing my own draft profile of the guy. Honestly, what I can say is he is going to be somebody, regardless of how he's used on the defense, that I believe is going to have an impact. And he needs to have a good season. He needs to have that quote-unquote breakout rookie season for the Giants if we want to go anywhere this year. If we want to win 8 games, we want to win more than 8 games, he's going to be one of the guys that's going to have to come on here and do his thing. Now, next up is my guy, oh my God, first pick, Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Now, you guys know the story between me and Andrew Thomas. If you're new or you don't for some reason, let me give you a quick rundown. Andrew Thomas was the guy I wanted for the Giants since about December or January. Whenever we played that Washington game, which was in December, I think, I don't know, whenever we played that Washington game and we played them and then we won it and we effectively lost the Chase Young Bowl, I was like, all right then, let's go ahead and draft Andrew Thomas. Throughout the entire offseason, I was like, we need to get a hog molly. We need to get that next left tackle. Although I will say, I think Andrew Thomas at this point should play right tackle. I know that might be a shock to some of y'all because I've been adamant on saying he should just go straight into left tackle. But given the situation right now in the offseason that we're in right now, and the fact that veterans along with rookies are having a lot less time than normal to prepare for the NFL season, we're talking about a month at most here. I don't think he's going to be fully prepared mentally and physically and just all around to get to NFL level of football with just 1 month. I could be wrong about that, and I would be very happy if I am. But just for safety precautions, I would want to put him at right tackle for now, which is kind of sad to say. But getting back to the hype right now, I wanted Andrew Thomas so bad, man. He was, in my opinion, the best offensive tackle to come out of the draft, and he was the best for as long as you could remember, up until about the draft combine time, which is when a lot of these other plays popped up. Guys like Tristan Wirfs popped up and Mekhi Becton. Now, Thomas's only real competition for taking that title of being the best tackle in the draft was always Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. But even then, I still think Thomas was a better guy overall, even though Wills did have better fundamentals than him. Thomas was a better pass protector and run blocker, in my opinion. And it's not like his fundamentals were like far off from Wills or anything. No, it's literally a 1A, 1B situation. Wills just went to a better football program in Alabama, and I'm sure that helped him out when it came to fundamentals. But Thomas was also very much more stronger than Jedrick Wills, and actually him and the other offensive tackle we drafted in the 3rd round, Matt Peart, they have the longest wingspan out of any offensive tackles in the draft, which adds to his physical ability. I mean, come on, man. You talk about not giving up a sack at all in his last season playing at Georgia with a statue of a quarterback in Jake Fromm. Not even a quarterback, which it would help out his situation, given the fact that it would be harder to get a sack on a mobile quarterback. No, this is Jake Fromm. That's how good of a job Andrew Thomas did. And one of the many other reasons I love Thomas was because I feel like he was going to fit beautifully with the Giants. Because while he's great in both run blocking and pass protection, I think his best asset is run blocking, which a lot of people would say it's pass protection. Once again, going to just how great of a player he is, you can't even decide which is the best. But I think his best asset is the run blocking because of his strength. And you already know that's only going to do good things for Saquon. But Andrew Thomas, man, I think this kind of goes without saying as to why he specifically needs to have a great rookie season for the Giants to move forward this 2020 season. Is because he's going to be playing one of the more important positions on the entire football team. Whether he ends up at left tackle or right tackle, he's going to end up at one of those tackle spots at one of the two more important positions on the offensive line. If it's left tackle, is the most important one, protecting Daniel Jones' blind side, whereas the right side, we had Mike Remmers there last year, who was rated as one of the worst right tackles in the league. Either way, he's going to come on and try to fix a tackle duo, or help fix a tackle duo that was ranked dead last year in the NFL in terms of giving up sacks, which of course, you don't want your quarterback getting sacked. And Daniel Jones, I will say, a lot of his fumble problems were attributed to easy sacks and not being protected. And of course, with Saquon Barkley, you want to be able to open up running lanes for him. Andrew Thomas is going to be a key on the offensive line being completely fixed, and the offensive line in itself is going to be a key in the Giants' offense having any type of success at all. If he gets in there and he stinks up the joint, well, other than the fact that means that he would be a bust, we're going to have a really bad time. You're going to see 2017 type of offensive line play where the quarterback is almost always sacked and no type of offense gets driven. So I think that's kind of self-explanatory, and I don't think I really need to jump into that anymore. But Andrew Thomas is going to be one of the more important guys that needs to have a great rookie season here for several reasons. And there's only one other guy I placed above him. Of course, the guy right now is Darnay Holmes, the cornerback that the Giants selected in the 4th round of this 2020 draft. And the reason that I have Darnay Holmes placed above Andrew Thomas is simply because of the unknowns of where he's at right now. Nobody has any idea what's going to happen with the DeAndre Baker situation as of today, July 28, 2020, just saying the date there of the recording. Nobody knows what in the world is going to happen with DeAndre Baker. He's currently the Giants' number 2 cornerback, the first overall, or one of the first overall picks from the 2019 draft. Somebody that was supposed to come on, take a step forward in the 2020 season, his sophomore year, after he improved towards the end of his rookie year, probably being going to be used properly this year and whatnot. DeAndre Baker was supposed to be that guy that formed a nice cornerback duo with James Bradbury and fix a questionable secondary that the Giants have had since that terrible 2017 season. But now with the situation that's happening there, that kind of gets thrown out the window, and the fact that he's on the commissioner's exempt list now, he's probably not going to see the light of field of a football field for a long time. And this is where Darnay Holmes comes in. Nobody knows who's going to get into that second cornerback spot. Now, personally, I think Holmes should honestly play slot cornerback. I think that his best position. I think he's going to be an absolute beast and monster in the slot cornerback position. Just looking at what he did at the college level at UCLA, even though he has limited experience in the slot, when the guy is in there, he's one of the best in the country, and I do mean that. There's a reason you got guys like Deion Sanders, the Hall of Famer, saying years down the line, Darnay Holmes could potentially be the best cornerback out of this year's draft class, and I think that speaks to just his physical ability and the way he pertains himself to the game. Darnay Holmes is one of the smartest draft players out of the 2020 draft class. His football IQ is absolutely off the charts, along with, just regular intelligence and being smart and whatnot. His technique is really good. There's room for improvement, but where he outshines the current, cornerbacks on the Giants roster right now, not named James Bradbury, guys are going to be battling for both the slot corner position and the second cornerback position, is that physically he's superior to all of them. He's the fastest cornerback in that cornerback room now, I'm pretty sure, and one of the more agile ones. So even if they do shift them outside, he more than has the physical ability to keep up with outside receivers and be a good matchup for them. Holmes coming out had all the physical and mental attributes to be potentially a great player. And then off the field as well, just to quickly mention, I have to say it, Darnay Holmes is probably one of the best Samaritans on the Giants roster right now. They drafted a true bleed blue Giants player here. He helps out a lot in his community. The guy runs several charity foundations, or is involved in several charity foundations. Unlike most other players, on their Instagrams, you see them posting their workouts and whatnot. Darnay does that as well, but a lot of his content is him promoting these charity foundations and asking people to go help them out, help out with kids in inner cities and whatnot. Darnay Holmes is a great guy overall. And getting back to football real quick, whereas everybody else has, had that weird quarantine situation where they haven't been able to train as much, like I referred to at the beginning of the video, Darnay has been out here practicing with Jabril Peppers. He's been out here meeting up with Giants players to get his time in, because he knows the role he might potentially get, and he knows what he has to do to help this Giants team move forward, and he's taking responsibility of it. He's being an adult about it and moving forward as best as he can despite the situation around him. And just to kind of harp on why I think this is going to be the most important player to have a great rookie season for the Giants, say why another time I put him over Andrew Thomas is because, let's say, God forbid, but let's say for a second here that Thomas just doesn't do good. We know that Saquon can perform at a beastly level with a bad offensive line. And we know that Daniel Jones is going to take a step forward because all the work he has been doing personally to improve himself as a quarterback in the offseason. So we know these two guys at some level are still going to perform well to really good, even with a subpar offensive line. The Giants defense, on the other hand, has been trash for, a lack of a better term, for years now, and we don't know if they can do that. We don't know if they could perform at a great level. We don't know if they can perform at a good level. There's even a question if they can perform at an average level. And Holmes in that secondary, in that coverage unit, is going to be a big part of that, moving forward from a below average level to an average or, even good one. But that's what I got for y'all today. Let me know what you guys think. Put your comments down below. Sorry this came out a bit late, but you guys know how it is being kind of busy. Keep an eye out once again for a big channel announcement in the coming week. Like, share, subscribe, and I'm out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch y'all in the next one.